News Radio 840 WHAS. Good Sunday morning. Bob Sokoler and the Louisville Real Estate Show here with you until the top of the hour. We welcome you to another one of our shows. I'm Bob Sokoler. Thanks for joining us. On this show, we've got the very lovely Lee Harris, who is the legal counsel over at Limestone Title and Escrow. You can reach her on her cell phone, both for sellers, buyers, and agents at 649-7964. Also here from Swan Financial, Randy Rocky, who is co-owner and does a great job getting people pre-qualified and closed. And we've got some interesting questions for him a little later on. Also, his number to get him in contact with him is 645-0736. That's 645-0736. My son Greg, who does our marketing, photography, and so much more, is joining us as well. And also a guest today for the show today. We have a guy who does, among other things, driveways. Daryl Holliday owns Maintenance Alternatives. You can reach Daryl over at 432-6657. We're going to have a question for him a little bit later on in today's show. And my name, again, Bob Sokoler. You can reach me if you're thinking about selling your home. Well, goodness, now's the time. We can come out, talk to you about it. It's free, no obligation. We really will help you one way or another. And then if you want to list and sell it, we can help you with that as well. You can reach me anytime on my cell phone. It's 502-376-5483. Again, 376-5483, whether you're thinking about selling or buying. Coming up a little later on today's show, lawn mowing mistakes that everybody makes, including myself. We'll hopefully be able to help you with that. But first, let's go to our first question. We're still doing our Zoom show, which means you send us an email to bob@wesellouisville.com. And then put in the body of the email the fact that whatever the question is, and in the subject line, put radio question, and we'll be able to help you. Incidentally, we're also rebroadcasting this show on Zoom, through Zoom, up to, ladies and gentlemen, YouTube. To get there, to see it, LouisvilleAnswers.com is the place you want to go. LouisvilleAnswers.com. That will redirect you to our YouTube channel. All right, Lee, the first question coming in from Axel. He's got a home on the market, watching his video camera, and he's watching the agent that was showing the property to the buyer. And there's a question about watching somebody coming through your house. We'll talk about that separately. But the buyer brings a dog to the showing, and Axel is not happy. He's wondering, what can he do? Should that dog be in his house?
Oh, that's a good one. That's not where I thought that was going.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, probably not. That is not a typical thing for a buyer to do, is to bring their dog to someone else's house. That'd be kind of like lighting up a cigarette in their house, or sitting down and eating lunch at their house or something like that. So that, I don't know that it violates any laws per se, but it's certainly bad manners.
Well,
so
would it
agents,
be,
go ahead.
I was going to say, would there be anything fair housing? Say it's a service dog.
Well, if it's a service dog, then that's a different story. Yeah.
Right.
If they were just out for a walk and they decided, hey, we'll meet up with our agent and go see the property, that's one thing. But yes, if they actually have a legitimate service dog, then
because you're assuming at that point that dog is most likely well trained. And,
yeah, right.
Not just run of the mill crazy. Okay. He might just run in there and poop on the floor, you know.
Greg always has a way of putting things.
Yeah, that's nice on a Sunday morning, though we do have another one about that later. But okay, so thoughts then, does he call the agent, or his agent call the other agent and try to work out what the heck's going on? Yeah, okay.
Yes, I think that would be the right thing to do. And good. Buyer's agents, if you have something that your client wants to do that's considered a little weird, if it's not a fair housing issue, then you can gently tell them not to do that at someone else's house.
Yeah, don't bring the dog. I mean, and I love dogs, but
I do too.
Yeah, don't bring the dog. You're thinking about selling, we can help you. You can go to bobsellmyhome.com and we can help you there. Just fill out the form. Or you can just go to wesellouisville.com, by the way. There's a new thing at the top of the website. wesellouisville.com, fill that out. You'll not only get in contact with me, but you'll also get a CMA. Basically, it's a market analysis based on computer information. All right, so Randy, we go to you. Wellington sent us this email. He says, like a lot of people, I need to move, but my interest rate is currently at about 3.5%. He says, I can't see buying a home and then having to work with a 6.5% or 7% interest rate. So he's wondering, is there anything you or other lenders can do to help stomach the higher interest rates? Any suggestions on that?
Yes. So we have a 2-1 buy down product that we can get them into. So the first year would be, like, for example, if it was 6.5, NMLS number 26362, APR 6.7. So then the first year would be 4.5, second year would be 5.5, and then the third year would be the 6.5%. So, and we do a no closing cost refinance on, and I do feel the consumer price index is going to come out May 10th. It's going to show inflation has dropped. And then I think you'll start seeing rates really make a move down. So we can get them in a temporary buy down, and then hopefully rates will drop, and then we can also at that point refinance them into a lower long-term rate.
So let's recap on this, because I know we just sent out a lot of information. So you can confidently buy a home with the 2-1 buy down, which brings it down to about 4.5%. Of course, that may vary based on where the interest rates are on any given day. Then you got basically 1 year or two if you'll go up to 5.5%. But then within that time period, the prevailing theory is that rates will come down. You will then be able with Swan to refinance your mortgage at the lower rate without any cost.
That is correct.
Yep. Okay. So hopefully that is, Wellington, that's a really good for you and for others who are thinking about it, because I talk to a lot of people every day and they say, we would like to sell and buy, except we don't want to trade the mortgage. And so there's a need for a lot of homes on the market right now. We're really behind on it. We're maybe 1,500 lower than what we should be at this time. So we would definitely, if we found the path, and this sounds like it's a path. So folks, you want to tell your friends and family, this may be the way to go. And again, if you want to hear it and see it again, go to LouisvilleAnswers.com, and we'll have this up on YouTube as well, waiting for you. All right, now we go over to Daryl Holiday, and we had this question, which is why I asked Daryl to join us today. Tommy owns a home with a fairly large driveway. He says it's exposed aggregate, which means there are little rocks in the driveway, right, Daryl, just to be clear?
Correct.
And he's never sealed it before, but he's heard that it should be. Is it a yearly process? Is that right? He's thinking it should be yearly?
Depending on the quality of the product that you use, typically the product that we use to seal driveways lasts a couple of years.
Okay.
But like painting, it's all about the prep. And so in addition to sealing, before you do that, it's very critical to power wash the driveway before you seal it, because you get all of the dirt and everything out, and then you put the sealer down. Better to roll it than it is to spray it, because it'll have a better, more thorough application. And the danger with not sealing the driveways is water starts to get underneath some of that aggregate, and it starts breaking loose from the main body of the driveway, and that's called scalding. And once that happens, you can't do anything to repair it except just try to seal it and stop what's doing. Anything that you try to do to fix it is going to look like a patch.
Okay, got that. He asks in this question if he does it himself, or anyway, folks who are listening do it themselves. Will the driveway soak up more sealer the first time?
Yes. And if he has never sealed it before, the best thing he could do is power wash it, seal it, and then the next day come back and seal it again.
Ooh, okay.
That way you put 2 coats on it. It gets a good base down, and then after that, each year or every other year, when you go back and power wash and seal, you'll only have to put 1 coat on.
And then you've already pretty much answered the second part of his question. What happens if he doesn't seal it? So you'll say the aggregate will break basically up, and
the aggregate will start disassociating itself with the body of the driveway, and you'll have little pebbles coming up, and then what's underneath there is lighter because it's more of the concrete mixture itself instead of the aggregate that they brought to the top. And so little chips start coming off, and it wears much faster when it is not sealed than it does when it's sealed.
So just out of curiosity, normal driveways, Greg, you don't have exposed aggregate, right?
Yeah. Standard is, I mean.
Regular. So for everybody else who doesn't have exposed aggregate, you'd know, because you'd have rocks popping through the top, which is supposed to make it look more expensive, I guess. Mm-hmm. So just real quickly, do you have to seal, should you seal a non-aggregate driveway?
Yes, sir. The difference is on an aggregate driveway, you use a solvent sealer with a roller. With the smooth, regular concrete driveways, you use a water-based sealer and you use a sprayer. Oh. Because if you try to do it without a sprayer on the smooth driveways, you will leave lines where they overlap. And so you use a sprayer to do that, almost like you would be spray painting the fence. But it is a water-based for the smooth concrete versus a solvent-based for the aggregate.
Got it. Good stuff. Daryl, feel free to hang with us, or you can just eliminate yourself on Zoom, but we appreciate, again, Daryl's phone number over at Maintenance Alternatives, 502-432-6657. That's 432-6657. Thanks again for being with us, Daryl.
Thanks, Bob.
You bet. We move on back to you, Lee. Billy put an offer in on a home that was in really a good price, a really good price. But the contracts were signed. Everything was sent back. But the agent now for the seller, who also happened to be the agent representing the buyer, says that the seller doesn't want to sell anymore. He said the seller decided not to sell. So one theory is the seller realized the money got too little. There's another theory is that maybe another buyer came into the play, and now the seller wants to eliminate the first buyer, which is Billy. So he's wondering, can the seller actually do that? Can he eliminate the contract? Your thoughts, Lee?
No, not without a release. Once that buyer and seller have a binding contract, then that buyer has a right to purchase that contract on those terms. So there is such a thing called damages. So if he could go for damages, which if it's going to cost him money, and let's say he has to extend his lease, or let's say he has to incur a higher interest rate, something like that, he could seek damages. But if he really wants this particular property, he can also seek what's called specific performance. It's hard to say quickly. And that means that he could go to a legal process, either mediation, arbitration, a lawsuit, depending on his contractual agreement, and seek for an order saying that this seller has to sell this property to him. That is a legal remedy in Kentucky, and it can happen. So just depending on how unique this property is and how much he wants to pursue it, yes, he should either have damages or he could get performance.
So for anybody who's listening, out-of-pocket costs to take this further would be what?
If you're under a Louisville contract, then you're undoubtedly under a mediation arbitration provision. Mediation is relatively inexpensive. It costs about $300 a piece, $400 a piece for the mediator's fee. If you want to have an attorney, obviously your attorney would probably charge you hourly to go to mediation. So mediation, you could get in and out of there, a couple $1,000s probably. If you go to arbitration, it gets a little more expensive because they have to pay the arbitrator's fee. And you probably want to have an attorney because it's a little more legalistic. If you're actually just going for, say, small claims, which is $2,500 or less, or if you're going to court because your contract allows for that, then small claims would be a couple $100 and a couple hours out of your time. A larger case is going to obviously, anytime you get involved in a legal battle, it gets more expensive. But it's also expensive for the other side, which gives everybody a motivation to settle.
So, and I know you're not licensed in Southern Indiana, but would you say in general the same applies for Southern Indiana
yes.
contracts as well?
Yes.
All right, good. We're going to take a break. Coming back, lawn mowing mistakes everyone makes, even you, Randy Rocky, and me. With us is Randy Rocky, Swan Financial. You can reach Randy and his group to get you pre-qualified and to the closing table at 645-0736. And then, of course, Lee Harris, legal counsel over at Limestone Title and Escrow. They do a phenomenal job getting you closed. And don't forget to get the cookie over there. 649-7964 is Lee Harris's direct number for you buyers, sellers, and for agents. My son Greg, who does our marketing, photography, and so much more, is with us. And if you're thinking about selling or buying, you can reach me anytime. Now is the time to think about it. We will come out free, no obligation, talk about it. We can do it by Zoom. We can do it on the phone. We can do it in person. You can reach me on my cell phone, 376-5483, or go to my website, WeSellLouisville.com. At the very top, you fill in the information, and it will get me in contact with you. Again, WeSellLouisville.com. We're back in a moment on News Radio 840 WHAS. News Radio 840 WHAS, Bob Sokoler, the Louisville Real Estate Show, here with you till the top of the hour. Joining us, Lee Harris, legal counsel, Limestone Title and Escrow, 649-7964. Also, Randy Rocky from Swan Financial, 645-0736. My son, Greg, who does our marketing, photography, and so much more, and I'm very proud of him, what he does. And you can reach me if you're thinking of selling or buying. My direct cell is 376-5483. Again, Bob Sokoler, 376-5483. Okay, lawn mowing mistakes. Greg, you don't mow your lawn over at Norton Commons, right? Or do you?
I got a little strip. I got a little strip that I take care of, and I've got a couple techniques and methods. It'll be interesting to see if it's in line or out of line with what you're about to tell me.
And Randy,
I can actually promise that I've never made a lawn mowing mistake, and I can swear to that because
you've
I've never mowed a lawn.
And that may be the same as Randy. Randy, have you ever mowed a lawn either in your life?
Oh, I've mowed a lawn. I just don't do it anymore.
I got you. All right. Well, I do, and I have a fairly nice sized lawn that I try to keep in good shape. My neighbors will tell you, but there are problems. So here, we're going to go through some of these fast and easy ones. Buying the wrong mower. Okay, that makes sense. If you you got a big place, you don't want to use a push mower. Running the mower at half speed. Actually, some folks mistakenly believe that running a lawn mower at full speed is bad for the engine. That it doesn't shorten the life of your machine.
I'm going to take a gander and say that most people don't even know that they can run a lawnmower at anything else but full speed.
Okay. Well,
I grew up with, you had a John Deere, and I never knew that I could even run that at half speed.
Oh, okay. Well,
how do you do that?
Yeah, you just cut back the throttle. Anyway, hitting the higher RPM on your engine means you get an even better cut, and it keeps the motor. That's a
faster blade.
Here's the key thing. Okay, mowing too quickly. This is a problem. If it's okay to run the mower at full speed, right, but it isn't a good idea to rush through the mowing lawn. So take your time ensuring a clean cut. Of course, don't use dull blades. We pretty much know that. Cutting the grass while it's wet, not a good idea at all. Not mowing often enough. The rule of thumb is don't cut off more than 1/3 of the top growth for each mowing. Cutting the grass too short.
Yes, fact, especially with the heat waves.
Yep. Mowing more than 1/3 of the grass blade damages the lawn, but it's also known as scalping. Also, sticking to a rigid schedule. It might be convenient for you to mow on regular schedules. But listen, it's important to have some flexibility. In the spring and summer, grass grows quickly and needs to be trimmed more often. So you may want to mow more than once a month. Mowing in the same pattern every time. This is a key element. So, Greg, do you mow the same direction and the same pattern every time?
Change it every time.
Right. That's the key. When you follow the same path every time you mow the lawn, the grass begins to grow in the direction it's being cut, varying the pattern. So if you go crossways one time, back and forth another time, varying the pattern ensures the grass will grow upright as well as avoiding ruts in the lawn. And so mix up the direction, go crossways, one way, the other way. And then cleaning up the clippings. How many, well, Lee doesn't need to. Randy, did you clean up the clippings when you used to mow lawns many, many, many moons ago?
Yes, I had a bag on the back.
Let the clippings drop. Fertilize.
There you go. That's right. No need to. Greg's right on it, buddy. All right. No need to rake and bag after you mow. Save yourself the effort. Leave the grass clippings on the lawn. The grass clippings will decompose quickly and provide beneficial nutrients to the soil. Also, make sure to clean the mower. Ignoring maintenance, that's not a good idea. Improper mowing storage, also off season. You want to follow that, and ignoring safety protocol. All no-nos with mowing the lawn. So hopefully we had a couple of good tips in there that you were able to take away. All right. We go back to Randy Rocky over at Swan Financial with this question. Charna heard something about a new, okay, Randy, this is new, no ratio loan option for potential buyers who don't bank traditionally. I don't know if you've heard about this. She's wondering, what is it? She's self-employed, doesn't have access to normal paychecks. Yeah. This work for her. And what is it?
Oh, yeah. So there's a bank statement program that if you're self-employed, let's say you take in gross deposits of $12,000 a month, we can use half of that, which is $6,000 as your income. So that's a no ratio in that scenario. And also there is an investment property program, and especially with all the Airbnbs and things of that nature, as long as you can put 20% down, they work off of estimated gross payments a month of how much money is going to be coming in. And as long as that ratio, that income coming in is less than the payment, then they will take that as well. You don't even have to have a job in that situation.
So
as long as you put 20% down, it's a 20% down product.
Is it a no doc type deal, or do you need the documentation?
Yeah. No, there's no doc. We don't even verify income or anything. It's called a DSCR loan that we do. So we do quite a bit of those at Swan.
Interesting. All right. That's good to know then. Moving forward, by the way, if you want to see what sellers are saying about us, you can go to LouisvilleSellersTalk.com. We made that easy for you. Those are videos from past selling clients. Also, you want to hear what buyers and sellers are saying about us, go to LouisvilleZillow.com or LouisvilleGoogle.com. We move back over to Lee Harris. Nicholas sent us an email. He has his house on the market for sale. Okay, we were talking about this earlier, and I'm going to try to make this as morning ready as possible. Okay, you know where I'm going here. There was a showing, and he came back to find that the buyer agent used the bathroom but was never flushed. He says it's not good, and he wants to know, what can he do? Is this the same thing, the scenario of the earlier question that we had? Yeah.
Wow.
I know.
So this
Again,
time, let's get this straight. This time, there was no dog poop on the rug, but there was.
Let's not go there. Yeah, okay.
Bob was trying to keep it morning friendly.
I was right.
Yeah.
Hey, you know me. We're just getting right to the point.
So, again, I'm sure there are scenarios when you have to use someone else's facilities, but again, good manners and common sense should prevail. It doesn't even have to get into a legal situation if you make good choices in other people's properties.
So does Nicholas have any action that he can take against the buyer or buyer agent?
Well, if there's some kind of issue, that is going to cost him money, that is certainly actionable. If it's just a matter of being inconvenienced and perhaps grossed out, then I think it's one of those, well, you got to chalk it up to. But again, he could complain to the buyer's agent through his seller's agent and say, we really don't appreciate this behavior.
Yep.
Lee, your face was priceless. People should go on to see that when the question was first asked.
LouisvilleAnswers.com. Yeah. So again, capping here on this, recapping, Nicholas, call your agent, have your agent call the buyer's agent, and the buyer's agent may deny this ever happened, but at least you put the
buyer's agent may not have known,
Yeah, I got
the buyer's agent's not going in after the buyer to check to make sure they flush the toilet, or maybe they should. Maybe they should.
Yeah, okay. We move forward.
You asked.
Back to Randy Rocky. Philip has a mortgage that was secured after he filed for bankruptcy a number of years ago. So he's got the mortgage. It was secured after filing a bankruptcy. In this email he received, he says a friend told him that the mortgage rate that he received was high. And if he refinanced now, he might get a better interest rate. Now, he doesn't say what his mortgage rate was in his email, but does that make sense that he could get a better rate now than what he got because of a filing for bankruptcy secured rate? Could it be that high that he could still save money?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Wow. So in that situation, and here's the crazy thing, in a lot of situations for credit score, if you do a Chapter 7, and Lee, you probably know this as much as anybody, maybe that's not part of your law you've ever practiced, but over a Chapter 13, you actually have a better credit score in 2 years. So if you hang people out to dry and totally don't pay your bill back, that you can have more credit and a better credit score if you do a Chapter 7 over a 13. Now, again, I understand in some situations you have to, but it's kind of interesting that that's the case. But yes, to answer your question, his credit score could have increased dramatically, actually.
Good. All right, that's good information. If you're thinking about selling, we have a free no obligation booklet. All you need to do is send me an email. It's 150 plus tips on selling right now. Bob@WeSellLouisville.com is the email address, and put in the subject line selling book or home tips. Let's go to Lee with this question. Tammy sent us this email. She is renting a house, gave the owner 1 month's rent at the beginning of the year, which equals to about $1,200. Okay. So I guess that's the deposit. She's wondering, the lease is up at the end of the next month, and she needs the security deposit for her next rental. So she's wondering how close to when she moves out of the house can she expect the rental deposit back? What if the owner doesn't return the rental deposit when she moves out? What can she do?
Gotcha. So the first thing that the owner is required to do in order to keep any portion of it, if there's any damages, is to do a walkout with the tenant and compare that to, hopefully they did a walk-in so that they'll see what the differences are. If there's no problems, then they should get it back immediately. I think under the Uniform Residential Landlord-Tenant Act, she has to give her new address, and they have 30 days to give it back to her. If they don't, then she can go to the district court and get it back, even if they haven't followed those walkthrough rules. So most landlords that are nice, fair landlords will give it back right away. If someone's trying to keep it as, quote unquote, additional rent or something, if there's no damages, then she may have to go to the district court to fight for it, but hopefully not, because I understand that a lot of times you want to put that deposit on your next apartment instead of having to come up with another $1,200.
So does she call an attorney if it doesn't work out the way she wants? Is that the easiest thing? And it'll cost her some money, but it might be the best option?
Yes. And there's also legal services in each county, for people who don't have a lot of means, they can call and get legal services for rental issues like that.
Well, I think the important piece that Lee touched on was it's 30 days, right? So they're required to return within 30 days, not the day of. And
right.
So it's one of those things that I would recommend to whoever has this question. If it's a concern of yours and it's something that you know you're going to need, have that conversation well up front, maybe a month or two out with your landlord and say, hey, I'm getting ready to move out. I just wanted to know if I can get my deposit back on XY date, because I need it to go rent forward. What's your process? Just know going forward, but also know that it's 30 days.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That gives the landlord heads up that she needs.
Right. So listen, can we do a walkout and could you bring me a check? Is that a possibility?
Yeah.
Is that
when I move out? Yeah, to use on the next one. Yeah. All right. By the way, we have a bi-monthly newsletter, and if you would like to sign up for it, the current topic is updating your home insurance policy. This is a really important thing. At least it is current right now. That changes every couple of weeks. Go to welovelouisville.com and register there. It's easy. It's free. welovelouisville.com. You'll get a newsletter from us on a bi-monthly basis. We are out of time. Our thanks to our dear friends who have joined us for this show. Randy Rocky over at Swan Financial. They do a phenomenal job of getting you pre-qualified. They've got a lot of different programs. Funny, Randy talks about it from his side of it, which is a product. We talk about them as loans. So there's some really good help from you from Swan. Call Randy at 645-0736. You can pick the closing attorney that you want to close your loan, and we highly recommend Lee Harris and her Limestone Title and Escrow Group. She's the legal counsel over there. You can reach Lee to get in contact with her about anything that you need help with at 649-7964. And again, remember that number, both agents and sellers and buyers. 649-7964. Lee is very helpful to all the real estate community. And then my son Greg, who does our marketing, photography, and so much more. And if you're thinking about selling, that's simple. Just reach out to me free of charge. This is a time to talk about it, even if it's not now. And maybe it's later in the year, in the next couple of years. I am here for you. We can talk about it either on the phone, in person, or by Zoom. And you can reach me, Bob, at Bob Sokoler at 376-5483. That's 376-5483. Or you can go to WeSellLouisville.com, and then at the top you'll see some banner that says find out what your home is worth, and that starts the initiation to be able to get in contact with me. Just fill that out. We're out of time. See you next Sunday right here on News Radio 840 WHAS.